Hey, good morning, everyone. I see that I had a mic error there. It's great to see all of you here. I've just been enjoying the music and the sunshine and the heat, even this morning. I hope you all have had a wonderful weekend as we celebrate Independence Day. So many gatherings of friends and family, although it's so hard when we need to be socially distant from each other during this time. I know that can be very, very confusing and very difficult when we have family oriented gatherings. So I hope this is a wonderful season for you. You are safe and healthy. And it's great to see you all here. I look forward to having time with you always. Always look forward to having time with you. I will tell you, we're mixing up some metaphors today. So we've been talking about music and the lines of harmony and rhythm and working together in unity. And you know, the movement in water is about the same, because I had an experience this week that changed my plans for this morning. And I want to bring that to you today. I hope it has meaning for you. So may God bless this time that we have together. We are so thankful to have the freedom to worship like this and to even connect online like this. Thank you, Lord, for all that you do. I want to remind you how wonderful and pleasant it is when brothers and sisters live together in harmony. There's nothing about harmony that is a stagnant property. Harmony is in motion. It is lines of music traveling together alongside. Harmony is sometimes very difficult to find and attain, and it's really hard to keep as well. How wonderful and pleasant it is when brothers and sisters live together in harmony. For harmony is as precious as the anointing oil that was poured over Aaron's head, that ran down his beard and onto the border of his robe. Harmony is refreshing as the dew from Mount Hermon that falls on the mountains of Zion, and there the Lord has pronounced his blessing, even life everlasting. So much of what has happened over these last months, wow, can you believe it's been that long? The illness and the trouble and the discord and the conflict over, of course, COVID-19 and the murder of George Floyd and our continuous conflictual political environment, need I say more? The deep trouble that we have found ourselves in as we get confusing information from every angle. Every angle we get confusing information. It's so hard to know who to believe and who to listen to and what to do and where to go. So as we've been talking about unity and harmony for a while now, we have used that metaphor of music, but I do want to share with you something that happened this week. Well, most of you know I love the water. I don't know if you know this about me, but I love the water, and it is very rare for Eric and I to get a day off together, a full day. It is quite rare, like it only happens maybe half dozen times in a year. And it happened that on Friday we were going to have a whole day off together. So of course we planned a kayak trip, as you can imagine. We planned a kayak trip. We decided to take on a 12-mile stretch of the St. Croix River. 12-mile stretch of the St. Croix River. 12 miles of the St. Croix River. Optimistic, huh? We went off a boat launch in Troy, which is right across from Afton on the Wisconsin side. And we were going towards Prescott, which is across from Hastings, where it merges with the Mississippi River. The St. Croix River is really deep and really wide and really wild, and we had it all planned. We had plenty of sunscreen. You probably can't see how sunburned I am, but I am. We had a cooler packed with lunch and more water than we thought we would need. And by 12:30, we were out on the water. It was a beautiful day. You all know it was wicked hot here in Minnesota, which 90 is very, very hot for us. You who are watching from Florida know that 90 is a nice sign of spring. So anyway, the St. Croix is known for being a beautiful, relatively clean river with very deep areas of it. It has a slow and manageable current most of the time, which is great. But that also means that really big boats can use the St. Croix. And guess what? we discovered that we were not the only ones who had the idea of boating or kayaking or whatever it was on the St. Croix River on Friday very quickly. In fact, there were boats everywhere. There was everything from jet skis to fishing boats. I don't think they were catching a lot because there was way too much traffic. To speedboats pulling water skiers or kids in tubes. There were houseboats, like those big, like they looked like mobile homes on a big flat pontoon thingy. There were pontoons, there were yachts, like the big kind of yachts, like with people wearing expensive sunglasses and I don't know, about as big around as my finger. You know what I'm saying? The yachts. I don't know who gets those. Wow. And we were the smallest boats I saw all day. I did see one other kayak, but she was smart enough to stay by her dock. We were the smallest boats the whole day, I think. And, at first it was really daunting because it was clear that we were sharing the river with a lot of other powerful boats. And this is not like riding your bike along a street or a highway, because whatever is on the highway doesn't change the property of the road for you. You're still just riding your bike. But when you're kayaking in the water with all these other boats and all of this other boat traffic, the big boats affect the water. You all are aware of this. You've heard of it. It's called wake. And so big, giant, deep, powerful boats were creating a massive amount of wake. And this is super calm. This was not me or Eric, because there's no way in the world I was going to try to get out my phone and take a picture or video. This is just a video I found, okay? Wake is actually pretty fun. When a boat rumbles by you and you know you're going to get some waves, the smartest thing to do really is just to turn toward them, right? Because if you let them take you from the side, then you get water in your boat, or they have a chance of tipping you this way, and that's super dangerous on a deep and wide river, right? You don't want to do that. Besides, your lunch will get wet. Who wants to do that, right? So it's better to turn your boat towards them so that you take those wake waves head on and just kind of launch over them. And you have to know that when the source of the wake is a really big boat, then the waves that come up to you are really, really big. So even if you turn your nose towards the wake and you're planning on going on a nice roller coaster ride, oftentimes the wave goes right over the front of your boat and just washes you wet. I think within 30 minutes of this trip, I was completely soaked, just completely soaked from trying to manage wake. There was no turning back, however. We realized we were in this for 12 miles, and so I was kind of hopeful in my mind that maybe it would get less, crowded as we went down the river. Maybe there would be more current to pull us faster, something, I don't know. But let me tell you, because of all that boat traffic and all the wake and the flow of the river being disrupted on the surface because of it, there was no floating along for a relaxing ride at all. It was all paddling, and it was all hard paddling. And of course, we were in that busy area, and it was chaotic. I don't know how to tell you any other way. It was really hard work, and it was hot. We went around each corner of the river, and I kept thinking it would get easier, but the traffic never really let up. Everybody was out boating. There was only one smaller, narrower section where we felt some current pulling us through. Otherwise, we were working wake management the whole time. And after about 3 hours on the water, we didn't realize it had been 3 hours. We kind of nosed ourselves into a tree on the side. I think this is when we did it. I don't really remember. It's all a blur. And I had the courage to pull out my phone and pull up the GPS. I know this paddling video has got to be making me seasick right now, but we pulled out the GPS and realized we were only about half the way there. Well, an app we use had told us that it was only going to be 3 hours for the whole 12-mile trip because of the current. But guess what? Whew. We were only halfway down the river at that point, and we'd already gone through a lot of our water that we had to drink. We'd already put sunscreen on again and again, and we were sweating because it was so hot. We realized we were in over our heads. We hadn't thought through this trip fully or completely, but there we were, nonetheless, out on the water. It was a hard paddle. We were sore and we were tired. And to make matters even more interesting, the wake really was not safe at some point. We decided to try to stay closer to the shoreline because that seemed to make it more manageable. But with the curves of the river and the natural turns, if we'd stayed near that left shoreline, the Wisconsin side, the whole time, it would have made the trip so much longer. We needed to go in a straight line and try to make 12.5 miles down. We started rationing water, being careful about how much we were drinking, more sunscreen, and I was just splashing myself constantly, trying to keep cool enough because it was very hot, all while managing the wake. It was really clear we just needed to dig in and get to our destination because we'd planned something really difficult accidentally. And so we needed to go straight ahead, no matter how the river curved or how wide it was or how much traffic there was. So in my mind, I was choosing points ahead. And we said to Eric, we're going to get to that point and then we'll check again and see how far we are, because we were getting to the are we there yet stage of the trip, as you can imagine. Where are we? Are we there yet? So we would pick a point ahead on the river, literally a point, like an outcropping of trees or something, and say we're going there, and we would head straight to it no matter how much river was on the right or on the left of us. Well, let me tell you, that made some very interesting things happen because there was a ton of boat traffic on our right side, like a highway. It really was. It was like a highway. And on our left side, in many cases, were those open area of curves, and those were the playground. And so all the other boats that were pulling water skiers or just jet skis running around or tubes of kids screaming and having a blast were on this side, and all the giant boats were on this side. And guess what that meant? Guess what that meant? Can you guess what that meant? That meant we were in between converging wake. Two sets of wake, this direction and that direction, just, this is not an actual photo or video, but it did feel like this. And you know, I'm not at all prone to seasicknesses ever. I've never been seasick in my whole life, but I actually felt my stomach at points on this trip. I actually felt it like, holy cow. And it was from the rising and the drop of that competing wake. Those waves were bigger than our boats at times. It seemed to converge right in front of us. So there was no way to turn your nose toward it and manage it, really. And if you tried to, you had to, oh no, here comes another one from that way. So it was a constant maintenance, trying to stay balanced and trying to stay afloat and trying to stay not completely waterlogged, you know, because if you get too much water in your boat, that's a problem, right? The powerful and competing currents eventually really became quite overwhelming. Are you getting seasick watching this? If you are, then I need to shut it off for you. It became really, really powerful. We got more and more exhausted, sunburned, and dehydrated. It became dangerous. But we really had to make it there, and there was no option. I mean, what we were going to do, like pull up to someone's dock at their house and walk up there and say, hey, I think I'm in a pickle. If any of you know my history, you know that that's happened to me before from a pontoon. But we really need to call it, I don't know, a cab or somebody to drive us. No, we had to keep going, and we had to stay focused to get there. You know, there's a rhythm. Do you feel calmer now that you can't see that? There's a rhythm to paddling a kayak. There really is. Moving the water from the sides of the boat and pushing your boat forward, there's a line that you follow. And it's so beautiful. And ideally, if you can keep the nose of that boat straight, rather than it shifting back and forth with each one of your motion of paddling, you save a lot of energy because you're not pushing water you don't need to push. So getting the rhythm right for the conditions you're in makes for this beautiful, smooth, and easy ride. Like when you're on a beautiful glassy lake, right? A serene, calm water. You have time to focus on the rhythm of your paddling. And I love wild waters and rapids, but there's something about that beauty, to find the depth, the reach, the timing to keep your kayak moving smoothly, that's beautiful. Even when you're on a river that has some motion, like the Rum River or the Crow or the Mississippi in places before it gets crazy or it's windy or something, It's so beautiful to just navigate the motion of the current. It's so easy too. You don't have to work hard for that, hardly at all. It's easy. Is that what you're yearning for right now with me? I think we're yearning for a calming of the waters and some rhythm in our lives, in our homes, our families, our schedules, so that we can get moving again in efficient and effective and productive ways, it seems. Or maybe it's the other way for you. Maybe you're caught in the St. Croix. Maybe you didn't realize what was going to happen. I mean, we could have planned differently, but maybe it just happened. Maybe the currents are wild for you and difficult. Maybe it's related to your job, struggles or stresses or childcare, or maybe your business is in question with every COVID-19 diagnosis. Maybe you worked in North Minneapolis, or you live in the middle of the difficulties. Maybe you even feel unsafe right now leaving your home for varying reasons. Maybe you're home in quarantine now, not feeling well. Maybe someone you love is struggling. Maybe this season is getting to you. Maybe you're experiencing anxiety and depression that you've never really experienced before. Maybe an upsurge from it in the past, and you're fighting to stay afloat. Maybe you're fighting to stay sober through it all. The convergent currents make this really hard, don't they? All the noise and the traffic, we don't know who to listen to and who to believe in. Or maybe over the last months, you've seen a goal. You've seen somewhere that you want to get and something you want to be a part of and some current that you know you need to contribute to. Maybe it's helping people through this. Maybe it's matters of justice for all people. Maybe you're thinking that the rhythm that moved us forward in the past is not the right rhythm going forward because it was only easy for some people. Maybe you're seeking for a new way to do things, and so you're out in the middle of converging currents, fighting for that goal alongside others. No matter what, there's no doubt that we're all constantly dealing with competing currents right now. The traffic is huge. The waters are deep. And it makes all of this a lot harder, much harder, a lot more work to balance, to know who to listen to, who to believe, and even who to follow, much less to get somewhere and to make progress. And if the destination that you're being led towards has anything controversial in it, then you need to get ready if you haven't already experienced the waves from both sides. I'm talking to you this morning, Regina and Jamie and Anna. I'm talking to you, you know that. Get ready for the currents from both sides because it's noisy out there. My dear friends, we have to get together in this. We got to be sure that no one is paddling alone through the powerful and conflicting and confusing currents of our time. We've got to be encouraging to each other. We've got to learn together how to manage this and how to share what we have to be sure we all get there together. We've got to do what we can to stay healthy and strong and to remind each other of what we're doing and where you're headed. Because no matter how rough the waters may get, we have to keep our eyes focused on the point, the whole point of the whole thing, the one point that will make it all happen. We have to keep our eyes focused. I want to encourage you right now, if there is one point that you can be sure of, you do not want to lose sight of this point. You got to keep your eyes focused on Jesus. That is where we're headed forward, where we're going. I see your comment. I'm exploring how I'm calming in the midst of the turmoil. That's exactly what this slide is. How well timed is that? Even so, even in the midst of the chaos and the currents, keeping your eyes focused on Jesus will bring peace and also perseverance. I remember getting to a place on this trip where it didn't matter what the wake was doing. I just knew where we were going. That was when God started whispering into me. I didn't really catch on to what was happening until the drive home. But God let me experience 5.5 hours of 12.5 miles of hard paddling. And I've been taking ibuprofen around the clock ever since to learn something about perseverance and to learn something about being calm in spirit even when the circumstances around us are really, really crazy. I want you to hear words from Hebrews 12:4. This is from the Message paraphrase, Hebrews 12:4. I want you to hear these words. Do you see what this means? All the pioneers who blazed the way, all these veterans cheering us on. It means we better get on with it. And his words are stripped down. What he means by that is get rid of any sin or weight or baggage that's holding you back. He says, strip down, start running, and never quit. No extra spiritual fat, no parasitic sins. And then these beautiful words, keep your eyes on Jesus, who both began and finished this race that we're in. Study how he did it because he never lost sight of where he was headed. If you think we're experiencing convergent currents and difficult times, imagine the path that Jesus took for us. Imagine that path. Incredible, isn't it? Because he never lost sight of where he was headed. That exhilarating finish in and with God, he could put up with anything along the way. Those are words from the Message paraphrase of Hebrews 12. It's a great read, okay? Hebrews 12. He could put up with anything along the way. Cross, shame, whatever. And now he's there in the place of honor right alongside God. When you find yourselves flagging in your faith, go over that story again and again. Item by item, that long litany of hostility he plowed through. And that will shoot adrenaline into your souls. If you're getting seasick from the currents, keep your eyes on Jesus. Study his story. Watch how he did it. You might recognize this passage more if I read it to you from the NIV. Listen. I see your comment. Yes, we made it. Hebrews 12, it says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders us and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinners, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. I so needed to hear these words right now. I'm wondering if you can relate. That's what God needed to say to me on Friday, what my spirit needed to hear. I needed an obvious experience with waves and convergent currents and trouble to tell me what was happening in my own heart, my own soul, my own experience. I didn't really realize the depth of the experience, maybe even more just now, honestly. This is a hard season, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually even. And yes, there will be a lot of competing waves. And if you're going to step out and have an opinion, you're going to feel a lot more competing waves. And yes, it's hot. And yes, we might get a little bit burned. Don't worry, I'm okay. But Jesus is saying, keep going. Look at the example he set for you. Keep your eyes on Jesus, who both began and finished this race that we're in. Isn't it beautiful that God was willing to come in human form and begin and finish the race that we're in so we could see how to do it? He never lost sight of where he was headed. I'm wondering, can you relate? I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me anytime. What is God saying to you? What are the converging currents? Who do you need to listen to? Where's your point of focus? Have you lost it? We've used this metaphor many times of water, and I've used it for kayaking too. It just keeps coming back. It's such a real and visceral thing. On one of the Wednesday touch points, some people were sharing, I'm out of my boat. I'm floating. I don't know where I'm going. So I'm checking in, you guys. How are you? Are you okay? Do you need some water? Do you need to throw something overboard to lighten your load? This is not the time to carry unnecessary baggage. Believe me. Keep trying. Reach out. You're not alone. We're in this with you. We're in this together. This community that God's been building online is beautiful. It is absolutely holy. Keep your eyes on Jesus, because he never lost sight of where he was headed. Let's keep our eyes on Jesus together. Together. Let's keep our eyes on Jesus. So I'm going to pray for you. Oh God, I can't know everything going on in each person's or household's circumstance right now, but the waters have to be raging. I don't know, maybe they're experiencing peace. Whatever it is, Lord, would you travel with us by your Spirit? Would you keep us focused on you? Would you help us to find rhythm even in the chaos, that we might stay on course, that we might sense your peace even in the chaos of it all. Oh God, thank you for setting the example of perseverance and peace before us, that we might know how to do it. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. So we're keeping our eyes on Jesus together, am I right? Yes? Staying together. Connect up. Reach out to me. Contact me. Log in this week. Log in. There's a link so that you can get to our online login. Share with me a prayer concern. Some of those can come just to me privately if you want. You can always just email me. It's so easy, Pastor Diana at CoonRapidsUMC.org. You can find a bunch of stuff on our website at CoonRapidsUMC.org. Log in, create a profile. We're building stronger and more healthy community. And I know many of you are longing for in-person worship again. I want to assure you that we're going to continue online worship for as long as possible, forever. We're planning because we see what's happening here. Some of you are able to connect that wouldn't be able to connect. Some of you don't live anywhere near Coon Rapids, Minnesota, and that's okay. It's good. We're going to keep going with this, but we do plan to try to join in again in in-person worship. I think Michael just shared it in the chat. It's a Survey Monkey survey, and we need you to, if you're a part of Coon Rapids UMC in-person worship in the past or want to be in the future, we want you to fill out this. It's 2 questions survey. It's super easy, 2 questions. We need to know where you are with that and how you're feeling about possible reopening of the building in September as we follow all the guidelines. You know, you need to know that if things change with COVID-19, that plan will have to change. But we're working with all of our neighbors in the United Methodist Church and our community to come up with a really good, safe plan for a beautiful service of contemplation and prayer that will have meaning for you. So I hope that you will stay with us. I think I fell off the church page. I don't know if I'm still with my personal page, but it says I fell off the church page. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Okay, strange. We hope that you will do fill out that survey. Please sign in. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to pray with you. Pray for you, know how you're doing, and connect. Join us Wednesday morning, 7 a.m., 7 p.m. We'll be back this week. But here's a song. I want you to sing along. There are words. Hey, I don't know, Kathy. Watching from Orlando, Florida. I don't know you, Kathy. Reach out. I'd love to meet you. Love to meet you. Sing along. This song will help you, okay? Have a great and blessed week, you all. I do worry about you. I think about you. Have a great week and a great weekend. Be safe and be healthy. I long to see you again. Much love to all of you. So sing along, okay?
So many questions the world is reaching, so many hurting, so many lost. With all this striving, who can we lean on? Creation's crying out from the dark. I know the answer to every question, the one solution to every fear. I know my help and where it comes from. Jesus, He is the answer. He sees our sadness, He feels our sorrow, and in our weakness He is strong. He holds the weight of all of our failings. Great is our sin, but greater the cross. I know the answer to every question, the one solution to every fear. I know my help and where it comes from. Jesus, He is the answer. For every heart that's breaking, for every soul that's shaken, for every sickness, there's healing in your hands. Let every heart awaken to see it's you who saves us. You are my hope and the rock on which I stand. You are the answer to every question, the one solution to every fear. You are my help and where it comes from. Jesus, You are the answer. Oh, Jesus, You are the answer.
Have a great week, everybody. Be safe, take care, drink lots of water. If you're having fun with family and you're watching this later, just reach out. We'd love to connect with you. Be safe, everybody, and we'll see you soon.